Alright, so just a quick disclaimer. You may know that I have covered this game in the past in a collaboration review with Koi Kitsune back in 2008, and it was uploaded on his Rever channel. Unfortunately, that channel has since been deleted, and I don't have a copy of the original video anywhere. I've lost touch with Koi over the years, and I don't know if he even has a copy of it himself, so the video may be gone forever. So because of that, and not to mention that he really did the majority of the work on the review to begin with, I figure it's high time that I dust this game off and have a run at this solo. So anyway, Castle of Deceit was an unlicensed game released by Bunch Games on the NES in 1990. You play as a magician named Ebo, who is tasked with going through the Castle of Deceit and retrieving the 6 magical runes, and taking down Phylax, an insane supernatural being that used the power of the stones to create all these twisted evil spirits based on its own hallucinations. There are apparently portals to 6 different dimensions within the castle, where each of the runes belongs to, making this place some kind of interdimensional hub. The first 6 levels each have bosses that guard the stones. You defeat them, take the runes, and then take on Phylax. So all of that sounds pretty decent on paper, but as you can undoubtedly tell from watching this footage so far, this game is not that interesting. And the worst part is, it's worse than it looks. The controls are broken beyond belief. There's a delayed response for pretty much everything. The jumping in particular is maddening when you're maneuvering past pits because it just feels so unnatural. You go up really slow, hang up in the air for a bit, and then drop down fast. It's just so damn awkward, even when you get the hang of it. You can't steer yourself at all after you've let go of the direction button either, so you're stuck going straight down if you try to correct your positioning. Shooting sucks because you can only fire 1 projectile at a time, not to mention that this attack is the only weapon you have in the game. There are no special attacks or any kind of protection. There's no shield or invincibility. You hardly even get any goddamn recovery time. If you get one of these assholes that's just drawn to you like a magnet, until you kill it, you're gonna take multiple hits. The enemies are also very uninspired from a design standpoint. They're all very generic and just seem to be all taken from quick brainstorming sessions without filtering out any of the bad ideas. There's shit like an eyeball, a ghost, a random blob, and a bunch of bugs. And all of their attack patterns are just annoying rather than challenging. They'll do shit like stand in your way and jump out of the way of your attack every single time without fail until you just get lucky. Or they'll just come right at you and you're expected to just mash your attack in time to wipe them out. There's not much in the way of strategy, or at least any semblance of reward from figuring out a hack around their broken patterns. It doesn't help that you can't duck or do anything to reposition yourself other than jumping, because while your sprite isn't that big, you're often in tight spaces and can't move around too freely. And a lot of the enemies are tiny, making them difficult to hit sometimes, especially since you can only fire 1 shot at a time. The only items you can pick up are these purple bullet-looking things that are health boosts. The bullets in the upper right represent your health bar, and these +1 icons that give you extra lives. The boss battles are all basically the same, some kind of demon that flies around in a circle, or some erratic bouncy pattern while sending a couple projectiles. The objective of most of these stages is to find a key, find the locked door that leads to the boss, kill it, and move on. Some of these stages have that maze-like design where there's a shitload of doors and you've got to try guessing your way through and finding what leads to where. It's Monster Party level 6 all over again. The graphics are actually not god-awful, but oftentimes colors blend or clash, there's almost zero variety in backgrounds and tiles, and there's not much in the way of animation, including your character, which is not good if there's no effort put into the main sprite you're seeing throughout the whole game. The music is mediocre at best. The playing is decent, but it just sounds like noodling, and every single note has the same inflection. It's monotonous. Even worse are the sound effects in general. They sound grating as all hell. There's a reason why this game was unlicensed. It's nothing more than a rough draft. Emphasis on the word rough. It feels like a prototype in the first phase. Everything from Tide to Sand needed to be cleaned up, redesigned, or scrapped altogether. In fact, the whole game could have probably been scrapped altogether. It's one of the worst games released on the system. Play this only if you have an unhealthy curiosity. So the game starts out in the castle of Aragon. And as soon as you get in the castle, start shooting immediately to get this dickhead out of your way, and head right. This swirly sack of shit will float up and down and won't get out of your way until you try to shoot it. It'll dodge without fail. You have to jump and time your attack almost pixel perfect to hit him on your way down. You might have to stick around in this spot for like a minute trying to get this right. Fun game, huh? There's an eyeball that behaves very similar to the white glob, except it gives you a lot more space, so you got some room to maneuver past if you don't want to be bothered. But sometimes the eyeballs will inexplicably have a circular pattern, in which you'll want to get to the center of it and fire so you get hits on its way around. You'll get to a dragon popping its head out of the water, and this is one of those places where ducking would have been nice, because you can't reach him, so sprint by and watch your footing. If you slip into the water, you're dead. At the top of the stairs is the key. Get it and continue left on the top floor until you get to the first door. More of this shit, kill it, and enjoy scaling the small platforms on your way to the next key, which unlocks the door at the boss, Odana. It sends a projectile and 2 swirly slower attacks, which will be recurring throughout all these bosses. Get in front of it and spam attack. It doesn't move particularly fast, so you shouldn't have to worry about making contact with it, just blast continuously. You'll be able to take out the swirly things, but they'll re-emerge. Just keep firing and slide out of the way every once in a while to get out of the projectile's way. When you take them out, grab the rune and head through the door to the next castle, or get the rune right away, it doesn't matter. Next up is Castle of the Moons, which is outside, and you can navigate around the floor vertically. It's weirdly the only stage in the game where it lets you do this. The only reason to utilize this is to line up with the worms that crawl around. You'll run into these butterflies. They'll fly in circles like the eyeballs. Position yourself accordingly and take them out. I guess this is another reason to use the floor's extra space. Head all the way to the right and enter the door, which sends you up here, and now you have to navigate back the other way via the tree branches. There'll also be birds that fly up here. Nothing too complicated there, but positioning yourself around the butterflies up here can be a chore because you don't want to fall back to the ground and have to make your way all the way back again. If one of them stops in its tracks and drains your health, just cut your losses and attack continuously until it's dead. Don't try to escape and end up back on the ground. Eventually you'll get to this door on the upper left, kill the butterflies, climb the tree, grab the key, go back out and head back to the door you came in and go through the third door for the boss, Orthop. He'll fire small projectiles and move in a circle. Step up to let him pass you, and try to stay at one side to sway him back the other way and keep him in front of you. Keep blasting until he dies, take the rune, and move on to the Castle of the Ages. Head right immediately to give yourself some room to take out the skull and the orange baby ram, or whatever this thing is supposed to be. Skulls bounce around and shoot projectiles, but you can thwart off these shots with your own attacks, so fire constantly and jump if necessary to shoot down its attacks. Head left and jump when you reach the spider webs, because there's a booby trap that sends a rock at you. This applies to all the other webs that you see throughout the level too. Go through the door on the far left and you'll emerge here. Kill all this shit, go left, and kill the Reaper. He just floats in your direction, but he does take a few hits, so spam attack, and at the end of the room is an extra life. Head back past the door you came in, go through the next door, and step to the left to give yourself room to kill the baby ram and keep going. Be sure to watch the rocks coming from the ceiling by the webs. Go through the next door, kill the skull, and in the next door you'll be greeted right away by a pair of Reapers. Head to the right to make room before wiping them out. Go through the door on the far left, head right to give yourself some room against the baby rams, head all the way down to grab the key, and enter the nearby door you just passed to face the boss, Skult. Basically the same shit as Orthop. Take him out, grab the rune, and move on to the Castle of Winds. This level sucks, because the wind blows. Immediately kill this green claw, it'll kill you instantly if you touch it. Then book it to avoid this Among Us ghost. Hanging back to kill it is unnecessary because it'll just respawn here later anyway when you come back. And killing it is a pain in the ass. It does the whole dodge deal while also pursuing you continuously, and it drains your health like a bastard. Fuck that. When you jump over the pit, you'll be teleported up here. Enter the door, kill the claw, slip down for an extra life, and these green faces do the similar dodgy shit that the ghosts do. But they don't hunt you down so much as wander around aimlessly. But they have strength and numbers. Keep going left for a door here, but keep in mind the wind blows here, and you can get knocked down here, and you'll have to work your way left through this door, back up here where you can backtrack. But if you kill the green faces, then it seems to hold off the wind. They must be the wind gods or some shit. When you get through this door, get by the ghost, drop down here for the key, and go through the door down here, which takes you back up a level from where you started. Drop down, re-teleport your way back up to the top, and go through this door for the boss, the Idol of the Four Winds. It's basically a tougher version of the fight with Odana, just some extra swirl attack. Stay in front of it, fire rapidly, grab the rune when you finish him off, and you're onto the Castle of Poseidon. This is a swimming stage. You've got these little fish that swim slowly, man-o'-wars that just float around but they're very dodgy and take a few hits to kill, stingrays that wander back and forth and fire something, bubbles that come up from underneath, and these vines that grow out of the ground and sometimes blend in with the long plants, which are harmless. If you let the man-o'-wars pass you, they'll hang around in the back, giving you less room to maneuver, so turn around and kill them as long as nothing's in front of you. It's the most straightforward level in the game. Just a bunch of all this shit, and you'll eventually get to the end and fight Craptopus. It's a combination of the earlier fights, the circular motions, the extra swirls, keep it in front of you and shoot it down, blah 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 blah. After taking it down and grabbing the rune, you're onto the Castle of Flame. First off, don't jump when you're walking by the Falls of Flame. You'll take damage if you jump through them, so just run by. If you head right, you'll see that the game is fucking trolling you. Yeah, these rocks that look out of place from all the others, these will collapse underneath you. So jump over them, kill the eyeball, and how the hell am I supposed to get across this shit? Well, this is slowly becoming the most full of shit level I've ever played. So if this wasn't deceptive enough, now you gotta check around and see that there's a door hidden in the background. Yeah, you can kinda see the outline, but that's some cryptic bullshit. You know you weren't gonna ever find this secret in Nintendo Power back in the day. So keep heading right, kill the fire blob, and when you get to the end, there's another hidden door back here that sends you up. Grab the key, head left, kill all this shit, and watch out for the floor cause there's another slab of rock that'll send you down if you walk across it. When you get all the way to the end, unlock the hidden door, and you've got a battle with Combustra. It's a lot like the earlier battles. The only real unique part of this fight is that the swirl attacks move in a circular motion from time to time. After finishing it off, grab the rune, and now you're on to the Castle of Deceit, which is the final main hub that houses all the negative energy, although it's not the last stage, there are a few segments. You've got more eyeballs, flying versions of the stingrays from earlier that'll do the dodgy bullshit this time, and these flying slugs that slowly drift down at you. But also these thin clouds pass by that drop rocks for some reason, so keep your eyes in all directions when dealing with this shit. Kill everything on your way to the left, and when you get all the way across, you're at what appears to be a dead end. But the thing is, you can actually ride these clouds. But they can still hurt you, so don't jump onto it from underneath. You've got to get at it from the side. Wait for the other cloud to give you some room, keep away from the rocks it drops, and when you get onto the cloud and you're within reach, blast the other cloud and hop onto the larger clouds over here. Kill all the clouds, stingrays, and slugs along your way, and walk onto this cloud. Don't try to jump on it cause you don't want to drop back down to the beginning. Make your way up here by the other cloud, shoot out the flame cause it can cause damage, and entering the door sends you to the next segment, the Maze of Possibilities. You're in a room full of doors, and as the name of the stage suggests, it's one of those door maze stages where you've got to find the right combination of doors to go through to the end. Every room has 4 doors, not including the one you came in through, and one of them will just keep you in the same room, so it's more like there are 3 choices per room. There are also different combinations that will get you to the end, and it's not that hard dealing with the enemies that are here, so this stage isn't as bad as it looks. You've either got these flying slugs that are easy enough to maneuver around and wipe out, or just plain bypass, or these creepy crawlers that shift back and forth, and they do shoot projectiles here and there, but they also give you energy when you kill them, not to mention that there's some hidden in the wall on the lower level, so this is a good spot to refuel if you need it. So first, go into door number 3, then 1, then 4, then 1, then 2, and now it's on to the prelude to chaos. As soon as you start, wipe out this Robocop Roomba that's passing back and forth. Fire continuously to thwart off its projectiles. Similar to earlier, jump over the webs to avoid the booby traps. You'll then come across this pair of very small creatures prancing around. They're too short to kill, you can't reach them, although because they're jumping, you can hit them when they're in mid-air. So either time your shots or just jump over them and go through the door at the far end. Keep going right, watch the booby traps, and enter the door at the end. Continue to the next door, another door lies ahead of that one, and then you'll open up to a pair of Reapers just like earlier. Head to the right for the sake of space, and fire away. Go through the door on the far left, kill all the shit in this hallway, grab the key at the end, and then go back to the Reaper room and use the key on door number 2. Now you're in a room with a skull, Reaper, and an eyeball. Deal with each of them one at a time, and use the moving platforms to get up to the door up top, and then you've got another room exactly like it, except this time it's the skull and eyeball show. The next door leads to the home stretch. Stay back to give yourself some room, take out all this shit in front of you, and step onto the moving platform when it gets back. Don't try jumping on it. You'll get 3 of these platform deals before you reach the end, and it's time to fight Phylax. He doesn't move, but he sends a bunch of swirly attacks and a small projectile. Plus there's an Among Us ghost floating around to complicate matters. Take out the ghost first, cause fuck that ghost, and then there are multiple pieces of Phylax you can eliminate. The tail, the hands, and then the eyes. If you take out the hands, it'll stop the projectiles from coming since he's chucking them at you. But you don't need to take out all these pieces. The only one that's important is the eyes. You will lessen the attack by systematically cutting him up, but it will take longer, so the choice is yours. After finishing him off, you'll see the 6 runes in place. Enter the door, you get a congratulations, and you're back to the title screen. Fucking amazing. That wraps up this game, and that wraps up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.